The Canadian Seed Trade Association's honorary life membership is presented annually to an individual in honor of his or her significant volunteer contribution to the Canadian seed trade and to the Canadian Seed Trade Association. This year's winner is Dr. Tom Francis. I would like to call on Don McClure and ask him to the podium to read the citation for Dr. Francis.
Dr. Tom Francis has been a valuable member of the seed industry for 29 years. His contributions have been made through his work in breeding, research in the public and private sectors. His contributions through business development and his volunteer activities with the seed industry associations, as has been mentioned. Tom's contribution within the context of CSTA has been very significant. In addition to chairing numerous CSTA committees and sitting as a director on the CSTA board, for many years Tom served as CSTA president from 2002 to 2003. For 3 years during this tenure with CSTA, he was also an active ASTA member and served as vice president for Canada. Tom earned a reputation in the industry as a real role model, and from my heart, for sure, he's been a huge role model for me and mentor. While president of CSTA, Tom initiated activities designed to foster the participation of new members into the seed industry, and encouraged them to volunteer outside of their normal business activities. Sessions were organized to provide an overview of the seed industry and education around some of the broad industry issues and activities of CSTA. Newcomers were provided with a context for what they heard at the meetings. Participants appreciated learning from more senior people with broader experience and expertise, and thus the Seed Mentorship Program was born. Tom's commitment to developing human capital within the seed industry fostered the Career in Seeds program, which I think we heard a little bit about this morning. Under his initiative, a CE resource tool was developed and has been produced and made available to CSTA members who are asked to speak to student groups about a career in the seed industry. Tom's contribution extends, throughout North America and the world. After an undergraduate degree from Mancari University in
Don't worry about it.
Close enough, right? This is in Uganda. Tom received his and then Tom and his lovely wife Joan emigrated to Canada. Tom enrolled in a master's program at McDonald College in Montreal, and ended up doing a PhD in corn breeding at the University of Guelph. With his PhD in hand, Tom Francis joined Agriculture Canada in Harrow, Ontario, and later moved to the private sector where he took over a job with Northrop King. And that's when I really started to get to know Tom. He proved to be a skilled corn breeder, and over a period of 14 years was involved in the development of more than 20 corn hybrids. When Tom accepted the position of general manager for Northrop King Seeds in 1994, it was a turning point in his career as he learned about business, the seed industry, and perhaps more importantly, how to connect the science and the business. 5 years later, as many seed companies were merging and restructuring, Tom went on to become Director of Product Evaluation and Advancement for North America for Novartis at the time. Further company reorganization saw the formation of Syngenta Seeds in the year 2000, and Tom Francis was named Research Director in ARVA, then Head Product Development NAFTA in 2002, and then later Head of Product Development in Europe, Latin America, and Asia Pacific for Syngenta Seeds. Since 2006, Tom has held the position of head of corn and soybean winter nursery activities, which is a huge part of our business anymore. There's as much activity goes on in the wintertime as, probably more activity goes on in the wintertime now in this business than goes on in the summertime. Anyways, Tom was head of that group. Throughout his career, Tom has brought a broad perspective to national and international issues, and recently has made many contributions to the development of regulatory requirements for biotech industry. Tom retired on December 31st, 2009, and I have to tell you a quick story. I remember the first day that Tom started with our company. He's retired, and I'm still here. What's wrong with this picture? Anyways, please, with me, congratulate Tom.
Well, thank you, Don. I didn't know that Don was going to do the citation, so do we have time for a quick story? I think the statute of limitations is passed, so I can tell the story. So this goes back to the early 80s, and Don was my assistant corn breeder. And he came to me one day and he said, Tom, we got to breed early soybeans. And you know, if you remember in those days, there wasn't that much soybeans. There may have been 200,000 acres in all of Ontario, and most of it was down in Chatham. And Don said, we got to breed, and I said, you're right. And so I went to the vice president of research in the US at the time, and his name was Bob Romick, and I said, Bob, we got to have some money for early soybean. He said, they'll never mount to it. I said, you know, it's group 2 and group 3. Norm's laughing, he's probably heard that story too. So I said to Don, well, you know what they don't know won't hurt them, so why don't we start breeding anyway? So we went to the back of the farm and we grew some soybeans, and the only problem was, I didn't know how to cross soybeans, and neither did Don. So Don said, we got to make some crosses. Well, we don't, neither of us knew how to do it. So we looked up and we found that Harvey Holding in Ottawa was giving away these F2 bulk populations. So we said, well, you know, why don't we get those? And these were kind of things that Harvey didn't want. So we got these populations, grew them out, and Don with his skilled eye went in there, and lo and behold, what was the first variety? 0088, is that right?
Correct.
Out of that F2 bulk that we just got from Ottawa was the first early variety. And of course, at that point, Minneapolis got their attention. You know, we started actually selling seed. So then they sponsored the research. And kind of the rest is history, but that's how it works in the real world, I guess. So, anyway, it's an honor and privilege to receive this award. I made some notes here so I don't forget to thank people, Dave and Don, and whoever else was involved in plotting this nomination. Thank you. Thanks to the board and the membership for supporting it. I really have had a lot of fun in this job, and if I could give an award, I'd give it to the CSTA for giving me the opportunity really to work with a great group of people. Joan is here, my wife, and she probably knows more people than I do. Over the years, you know, coming to the conventions, we've made some good friends. And I've always enjoyed the opportunity to work in the trade associations. For me, it was always, it kind of put my job in perspective. You know, we'd be in the trenches, we'd be competitors, we'd be fighting hand and foot, you know, out in the field. When we'd come back here, it was a good chance to step back and realize that we were actually had a bigger vocation in life, you know, just to agriculture in Canada and really now internationally. So for me, it was always fun. And, you know, for those of you who are new in the industry, I can only recommend that you know, take part in the association. It's very rewarding, both personally and professionally. And I think one of the nice things about this award, I'm told I can now come to these meetings as long as I want to. So we hope we can keep coming and keep renewing the acquaintances and maybe making some new friends. So anyway, I wish you all the best, and thank you very much again for the award.